Hello Muglets, today in Genshin Impact we are going over Floor 9, how I beat it personally. Do try and forgive the aspect ratio, I was playing on iPad. I usually don't for recordings, but I wasn't really expecting to beat it, but we did, so yeah. I wanted to go over sort of my first clear here. We'll also go over everyone's build at the end, so you can kind of compare and contrast and see what you might be lacking, but of course you probably don't have the same characters I do, hence the intro card. Anyway, starting on Chamber 9 here, the card we pick was effective this floor, just because you typically want to grab those because it's effective for all the chambers. And especially since the first chamber actually isn't all that difficult compared to the other two, whatever is effective for the whole floor is gonna be better. Our first team, we have Mona, Venti, Barbara, and Amber here. As far as Amber is concerned, it was just get some fire on them, but it's not really necessary, I suppose. I didn't use her super often. The main combo strategy here for the slimes is gathering them all together with Venti and then slamming them with Barbara, specifically her ult, when it is available. It is a little unfortunate when there is one single slime here, as this team really deals a lot better with AoE, but eventually we were able to get through it. In this Floor of Abyss, Electro, Fire, and Overloaded damage, which is the combination of Electro and Fire, deal much increased damage. So this was kind of my thought process with bringing Amber. Her being like level 18 obviously didn't do too much. And of course neither Venti nor Mona are Electro or Fire and or can cause Overload. But the cool thing with Venti here is he can gather them all together and of course cause Overload because there are Fire and Electro slimes here. On the other side we have Kaching, Noelle, Shanling, and Fischl. This is obviously focused a lot more on causing those overloadeds manually. Kaching is obviously going to be quite nice versus the fire slimes. However, even for the electro slimes, just because Kaching is built so much better than the other three here, I usually was just using her basic attack for the electro slimes as well, but, you know, taking Shanling out to throw her little bear down, it's a little hard to see, but her bear actually does do quite good damage. And of course, leaving that little pepper there for Kaching. So this stage was completed in a little over 3 minutes. But to get 3 stars, you need to do it in under 5 minutes. Again, Chamber 1 is not that difficult. For Chamber 2, we did pick another effective this floor. We went ahead and went for character elemental burst damage, as the other two options were defensive and, well, to try and get 3 stars here, it's an offensive race. For this floor, pretty much the same strategy as with the slimes. We try to make them wet first. Venti does have Viridescent on him, so he can reduce their resistance to Mona's attacks. I don't think we got an effective swirl here, unfortunately, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Gathered them all together, did Mona's ult. That cluster died right then. It's a pretty OP combo, to be totally honest. And with them both having a decent amount of energy recharge, they could pretty much spam their ults one after the other and just continually gather them all together and explode them with Mona's ult. I usually do try and get the Hydro on the enemies first before using Venti's Swirl, as he is built with a decent amount of elemental mastery, but in the heat of the moment it sometimes doesn't work out all the time. So after a certain amount of these regular Fatui enemy dudes, you'll eventually come to one of these Electro Mages with their annoying bat things, and yeah, she's super annoying, but I pretty much just stick to the same strategy. Mainly focusing on her and just trying to kill the other side enemies with AoE, like when Venti sucks them in or whatever. And yeah, pretty much just continuing to cycle their ults, taking Barbara out when I need healing. I don't think I was using Barbara to a super effective degree here because, you know, she also has the special book where you can swap in and out for a pretty massive attack buff. So the first half of the chamber wasn't too much of a problem, honestly. It's the second one that I had a lot of issues with. All these big dudes. I pretty much started with Noelle because Kaching was pretty unhealthy, but it's super important in the beginning here to deal as much damage to these guys as possible before they get their shields. Because unless you have the proper elements, which I didn't have all the proper elements here, their shields are incredibly hard to break. So for the ice guy, you need fire. For the geo guy, you need geo. Like, we did have Noelle, but she died here, and I believe I actually gave up this run. Everyone died so quick the first try. And so we're gonna go ahead and restart that. And here we are, actually, I think on our 3rd try. We died here twice. We go ahead and just start with Kaching's ult this time, try and get as much damage as we can, and just try and not die pretty much. And then, you know, switch out to Noelle for some healing once they get their shields up anyway. But just in the meantime, maybe try and kill 1 or 2. We do actually get Noelle out here a little bit earlier. You just have to be super careful. Mainly, the ice guy deals so much damage and he's super hard to just avoid on the fly. When they're by themselves, it's no problem, but when you're trying to concentrate on 4 at the same time, it just gets really difficult. But I eventually go for the Geo guy first as I had Noelle out. You can see his shield goes down super fast with Noelle's greatsword. And I go ahead and swap back out to Kaching for her ult. And I throw my bear over there for the ice guy. And we're checking it to see if that works out. You can see a shield going down over there. It did work out. So I just start going for him then. And the Animo dude has died as well. The only one that currently has a shield is the Electro guy. So I go ahead and just be a little bit reckless here, even though she's super low health. I'm trying to be quick because we do want to get 3 stars. I do swap back out to Noelle to try and get some healing. And that's the end of the ice dude. Now we just have the Electro one left, which is actually super easy to avoid when he is by himself. Basically, when you see him charging up, just go behind him, and that's pretty much it. So yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have any cryo here, which is good for breaking his shield. So it goes pretty slow because I can't use any of Kaching's abilities. It makes no sense because he has an electro shield and it won't do anything really, or a lot less. And since I noticed we had actually a good amount of time left, we still have 40 seconds left for the 3-star here. I decided to heal them up for the last chamber and just slowly finishing him off there with Kaching's basic attacks. Chamber 3's card was a pretty hard choice. On one hand, you may as well pick a Chamber 1 here as it's the last chamber, but I didn't really like the Chamber card, so I just took the attack on sprint, as I am just naturally sprinting a lot, so better a random attack buff. I don't do that many charge attacks with either team anymore. I used to do a lot with Kaching, but now that she has the full Gladiator set, I don't do them super often. But yeah, then we come to the first half of Chamber 3. We have this big golem dude and his little minion Sandshrew there. I assume my first team would have been a lot nicer here instead of the Mona Venti combo, because, you know, he has that super massive Geo Shield, which Noelle could have probably made short work of. I will need to test that. I don't really use Noelle outside of Abyss, so I don't have much experience with her, but typically, you know, Greatsword Geo users are good against Geo Shields. His attacks are pretty fast and hard to avoid. And then of course we have the little minion, which is causing those mini earthquakes in the ground. I thought that was him at first, but once he died, they were still going on. So I decided to focus most of my attention on the big one first, because the little one is always going underground and it just felt too annoying to try and keep track of him while this big dude is constantly jumping on me. We did end up failing our first try here. He just killed us. I didn't bother retrying the chamber just because I figured we didn't really have the right team for this. So I would need to start the entire floor over again. And yeah, ultimately I kept trying the same thing, mainly just Mona and Venti, trying to get that viridescent water reduction and then smacking him with Mona's ult. So yeah, it literally took us over 3 minutes for the big one to finally go down. And that's obviously way too long, as you need to clear both halves in that time. So again, I didn't even bother trying for 3 stars. Even if I perfected this strategy, I just don't think the characters would have been right. Thankfully, since we did 3-star the first 2 chambers, we can come back to this with this chamber specifically in mind, even if the first 2 chambers take a little longer. Also, since I heard someone say Barbara's revival doesn't work in Abyss, I just want to show you this really quick. There she is. The little Sandshrew guy does also take quite a while to kill, just because he's hiding half of the time. So, I don't know. It's really hard to say who you should go for first. And then this was BS. I'm in the next half of the chamber and those rock things were still hitting me. But then this one with the golems was actually surprisingly easy, even though my facial just almost got one shot. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say easy, but definitely easy compared to the other chambers. Naturally, your main goal here is to get rid of one first. However, just with all the AoE going off, they kind of both died at the same time. I mean, the second one didn't, but he only had a tiny bit of HP left, so he was pretty quick to clean up. And obviously this floor went a lot faster than the first one. Oh damn, we only got 1 star. I didn't realize that. Regardless, it is enough to move on to floor 10, so I call it a success for now. For those curious, here are the artifacts we got from this. Gladiator's Destiny Defense, HP and Energy Recharge. Honestly pretty sad because there's like no offensive stats there. Next time we'll be trying floor 10, which sounds extremely annoying. We have the Smoldering Flame stuff, which usually isn't a problem with Barbara in your team, but we need 2 teams. So Barbara's probably gonna have to be in the weaker of the 2 teams because you can sustain, and then you'll need like a really OP core team without Barbara to try and just get through it really quick, I guess. That's my initial thoughts on floor 10 anyway. And now we are live in the game. We can take a look at my character stats. The only thing that's changed is we got Mona to 80. She was 70 while doing Abyss. Let's go ahead and start with Kaching because everyone's asking about my Kaching build constantly anyway. Here are a quick glimpse of her stats. Pause if you're super interested. Currently rocking Lion's Roar, and here are her artifacts. They are all 4-star 16s with a full set of gladiators. I'll go over the substats for her, but not for anyone else because that's going to take way too long. They are not very good, but good enough for now. Well, the flower's alright. The feather isn't horrible. For some reason, I have a bunch of energy recharge. Hourglass is pretty much as worse as it can be, but it has the main stat attack, so whatever. The fill-in piece isn't horrible. We have crit rate and crit damage, and the helmet pretty much just has crit damage on it. So subs aren't that great, but whatever. She's working out fine. We'll actually start with the characters that were in the same team. So we have Xianling next. Again, quick look at her stats. Nothing special at all. She currently has Favonia's Lance because I don't have anything better. And her artifacts are a hot mess right now. We have a +0 in there. 12, 4, 8, 4, Instructor, and Berserker. We actually had Noelle in the team as well. A quick look at her stats, obviously focused on defense for Noelle. She is rocking White Blind because it has main stat defense, and again, we don't have anything better. Artifacts are actually a little bit better than Xianling. We actually have 3 5-stars on her, and they're all +8 currently. Bloodstained Chivalry for physical damage and Maiden Beloved. I would have given her Defender's Will, but I literally have 2 pieces of that artifact. Maybe I'll farm it a bit later, but yeah, I'm mainly using her as a healer right now. And then finally, Fischl. I think this will make some of you sad, but yeah, here are her stats. She's rocking Sacrificial Bow, and she has no artifacts. She was pretty much just there for the Electro Resonance. So moving on to the second team, we have Vinti here. Here are his stats real quick. 338 Elemental Mastery. He is rocking Stringless. A lot of them are actually maxed out as well. We have a 16 here, a 16 there. This one's only 13, so I think the subs are garbage. Then we have a totally maxed out Feather. I think these stats were actually quite good. We have 11 crit rate, 70 elemental mastery, and 8.7 attack. So I went ahead and maxed that one out. Next we have Mona. She is also decently built, although none of my units are perfectly built. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that. But yeah, those are her attributes. She is rocking Solar Pearl. This is the Battle Pass weapon. Gives her crit rate. She is rocking the Oblige set with, again, decently high raised artifacts here. I'm going energy recharge, hydro damage bonus, and crit damage. The subs are all pretty bad, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles with artifacts. Then we have Barbara here. Here are her details. She is rocking Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. I actually did raise this to level 60, even though it's not strictly necessary, but it has main stat HP, so I wanted it. Obviously, the passive stat there, giving the character she switches out to 48% attack is amazing. Here are her artifact levels. They are all +8 except for the 5-star, which is +20, because it was actually looking good as I was raising it, but then it went to crit damage twice. So that was annoying. And then we have Amber. I don't think there's much to say here. She's level 21. She has a 1-star Hunter's Bow, no artifacts. Yeah, pretty much nothing. You can also see my constellation levels. We recently got a duplicate Kaching, so that was cool. None for Vinti, none for Mona. Max Constellation Barbara, which did allow her to revive. 3 Constellation Xianling. 4 Constellation Noelle, 0 Constellation Fischl, and 0 Constellation Amber. Kaching Talent 766, Vinti 267, Mona 346, Barbara 175, Xianling 269, Noelle 162, Fischl 111, Amber 111. Pretty sure that's every detail I could share about them and their stats, so take it as you will. But yeah, that'll do it. Make sure to tell me what you think in the comments down below. Dropping a like on this video if you happen to enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. You can also check out my Discord in the description below. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.